Welcome back to another episode of Obliterated Companion. I'm Peter, and you guys got another great interview lined up today. We got Terrence Terrell, who plays Trunk from Obliterated, joining me today. Terrence, I just want to jump in with this just right quick.
Yeah.
Do you know, or have you asked about why is Trunk named Trunk?
I came up with a couple of things, a couple of reasons why. But yeah, I feel like I do know.
Okay. Give me, we'll
It just depends on which version you want. There's a couple of versions. There's the X-rated version, which a lot of people are talking about.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Hey, I seen that episode." Instead of like, "Oh, I saw the whole show," they're like, "I saw." They say
Yes.
the torture scene in the food fight is they're like, "We saw those." So I'm like, okay. But then trunk to me also means to me. I thought about an elephant because elephants are very wise. They're big. They're strong. They're very calm animals until they're not. And so I felt like I incorporate that as well. And then of course just being big as hell. So yeah,
It's an elephant trunk.
yeah. See, I didn't. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna throw no names out, but I kind of asked, I was like, oh, is it because of this? And I was told correct.
What I never asked. I didn't want to ask.
Yeah.
What did you ask them?
I asked, hey, why is Trunk called Trunk?
Okay.
And before I got an answer, I go, wait, is it because of his dick? And I got correct.
Okay. Well, I was trying to go the educational route, but okay, cool.
Have you seen Obliterated? I don't want to say there's nothing educational about it, but they're having fun. They're having fun. And I'm sure you're having fun. What's the reception been like? You gave a couple examples of like, oh, I've seen two scenes, but talk about like friends
Really,
and family.
people are really, really excited about it. There was one scene we were shooting when we were in the Russian compound, and there was a moment. It was me, Nick, and yeah, me and Nick. We had to run in and McKnight. We had to run in and save Lana. We heard her scream, and there was a moment right before they called to action where I looked up and the mirror was in front of me, and I remember almost tearing up because I was like, I saw myself as that person I wanted to see when I was a kid, like an action hero that looked cool. You know what I mean? Like the Mr. T's and stuff like that. So I saw that. So a lot of people are saying like, yo, it's so good to see, big black guy actually not just being dumb or whatever. Like Trunk is a power to be reckoned with. Like he's smart, he's on point, he can be lovable. Also, it was like he's a lethal weapon. He's a killer. Like even in the first scene when he's I can take out the Jesus, what's the thing? I can take his muscle out with no collateral damage. Like he's ready to go in there and kill him in front of everybody, and he's ready for whatever. And McKnight's
Yeah.
crazy like that too. So I feel like we're getting really, really good feedback, and also it's like we're like ghetto cartoon characters. We
Yeah.
have the same outfit on. We have the vulture, which is like our Scooby Doo van, or whatever. So it's really cool. So everybody's loving it. I'm really, really excited and proud of it.
Oh yeah, as you should be. It was number one a few different days, right?
Yeah, now it's number 3 in the world. Oh, excuse me, I'm turning this fan off. It's number 3 in the world. I don't know what number it is now, but I have a feeling during the holidays when people actually sit down, it's going to jump back up to number 1 to watch it.
Clearly a family show, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we'll save more Obliterated towards the end because I personally like to get to know. I would like to get to know you, but that's companion. It's for a different things, a few different things. We're a companion piece of the show. We're going to do episode breakdowns and stuff like that. But I like to look at my interviews as if like I'm chopping it up with a friend, and everybody listening is like a fly on the wall. Because I like one of the criticisms I've gotten for my interviews is like you share a lot of your own personal stuff too, and I'm like yes, but I'm having a conversation
Right.
with the talent,
Right.
and so you learn about the host and the talent as well. But
Right.
anyway, so you were born in Mississippi. How long were you there before you relocated?
Well, I was born there, and then my mom moved us when I was 5, and so I grew up in San Diego from 5 to 15. And I moved back to Mississippi, and I
Mm.
helped my grandmother. She had open heart surgery, so I was like her caregiver. while going to high school, and then I ended up graduating from college at the age of 17? No, 19, 19. And then I graduated from grad school in a year and a half. So I moved out to LA right a week before my 21st birthday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I spent a little bit of time in Mississippi. It was military related.
What
You know, we
part?
were.
Oxnard. Is it Oxnard or
I
no? It
feel
was
it.
Hattiesburg. Hattiesburg.
That sounds very familiar. I know that we took like a bus to like a nearby mall, and we went to like a all you can eat buffet, and that's the very first time I had frog legs.
Okay, you're brave. I'm from Mississippi. I've never had frogs. No.
You know, so for the audio listeners that have never seen me, I'm Asian, and so we have a lot of delicacies, and so like I will try anything. If you season something right, I can eat anything.
Yeah, I'm like, no.
Do you ever used to watch that Andrew Zimmer show, like Bizarre Foods?
No.
Oh, okay. He would
Is
travel
that
the
the one where
world.
they eating every? Oh no, okay, no, I haven't seen that one. I saw
Yeah.
a documentary where they were like telling us where the food originated from.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, but no.
No, he will go around the world, try something unique, fried tarantulas, like insects on a stick and whatever, these are what people eat in these parts of the world. And
Oh,
sometimes I'm sitting there and like he's like, like gagging. I'm like, I could eat that, And so,
no.
yeah, but I bet you Trunk would. That guy,
I don't know. Trunk ain't gonna eat all that now. I think he's very like, maybe if it came down to, because I know after episode 4, yeah, he probably would have ate some frog legs with no problem.
right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, it's got some pretty good meat. I don't mind some frog legs. Um, then and so Mississippi to LA, and then you moved back a little bit. Because there was I was trying to figure out like your timeline, just kind of like doing a little bit of research on you. It sounds like your grandparents were like a real big part of your life, as most kids. But I feel like they were probably more extra special because you included them in one of your books.
Yes, my grandparents, because when I came from a single parent home, so I went through some real shit. We grew up, on welfare. My mom was trying to make ends meet. She went to jail a couple of times, so that's when then she had to go to rehab and stuff. So I ended up moving back to my grandmother's, and she got me right at 15. So that was a time when I was trying to figure out who I was and you're trying to be cool, trying to rebel, and thank God for my grandparents because I think that's the reason. Well, I know that's the reason why I'm so humble and so nice to people. And I was always taught you treat people the way you want to be treated. You give without thinking about getting anything back. You just lead with your heart, and you get more. What she say? More bees with honey than vinegar. So yeah.
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 Now, one of your books, I think it was Blackie that talks about like bullying, and you have mentioned, having been bullied. Was that when you were younger? Because like you're 6'5",
Well, it
six
was
five
not
and a
really
half.
6'5", almost. I say 6'5" and a half. It's almost 6'6", but 6'5" and a half is just cool. They're like, "Do you really need that?" I'm like, "Yeah." But no, when I was a kid, right now it's cool to be, different colors and have swag and have your own little personality. When we was kids, I was skinny. My head was still this size. I was small. My voice was very high pitched, and even like now, I sing, but now sometimes you can tell my voice goes. I can go high, like with the scene we're torturing. That was like a high note, like a Celine Dion note, like screaming, and I had to hold that note. So yeah, so like I got picked on because of my voice. I got picked on because we didn't have a lot of money, shoes, clothes. So I got bullied a lot. So then what I did was I just started becoming the class clown. So if I can talk about myself and make a joke out of it, and then I can talk about you and make you look worse just by using my words, then I became the class clown, the cool dude. But yeah, I got bullied a lot, especially about my skin color. And then I didn't like my skin color when I was little because I saw how people and how I was treated on my skin color compared to other people with lighter skin, how they were treated. So yeah, I didn't like myself when I was younger. It took me a minute to grow into it. And I learned that when I was in my 30s.
Yeah, I mean, everybody they learn at different stages, and often it's just having that right person to kind of like educate you and
Yes.
help you find, like, you know, like the self-love that you talk about, you know,
Yes.
and that you're out there sharing too. I have young kids, and luckily for them and for me, that they haven't, you know, had to deal with anything like that. But I'll tell you what, during 2020, the height of, like, you know, Stop Asian Hate, we were getting emails from the school talking about, like, oh, they have heard about the, you know, like, Asian students being targeted. I'm like, what the hell? Like, you know, these are kids too. And
These are
so,
babies. These are babies.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So tell me, and we're gonna jump around a little bit. Can you tell me, like, what made you decide to write these books? You have a few. You have like the She's
I have
superhero
a super. So
empowering women.
Blackie was a book from me. I was going through depression, and then I started to Asian culture. I'm not sure. You can educate me on that. I love learning, but like being an African American man from the South, Baptist, going to church, we were told, like, you don't go to therapy. You pray about it and shut up. You don't talk about your problems. Boys don't cry, things of that nature. So I was already conditioned to be so tough to hold everything in. So around 31, when everything started just like uprooting, I was going to class, and our teacher at the time was saying, like, oh, acting class, Leslie Kahn Studios. She was saying, like, you should write. Sally said you should write your own scripts and write your own stories. So I started writing, like, oh, I'm gonna write a script. And so when I got finished with it, I was like, oh, this is a book. And so I ended up I wrote that book in 30 minutes. And Blackie is an acronym. It stands for Be Loving, Adoring, Caring, and Kind of Yourself, for anybody who feels like they don't belong. And so in the book, he learns about his self-love, his power, his confidence. Then She's came after our mother passed. I read her diary because she was in love with Blackie. And I'm like, it's a kid's book. But she was like, you don't understand. Like, this is going to save so many little boys and girls. I'm like, okay. So I just had to get it out. I wasn't thinking about, I knew it was going to be good, but I was like, who's going to buy this book? Who's going to do, all the stuff in your head. And so the She's, after she passed, I read her diary, and it stands for superheroes every day, because like most kids, no matter what, mama does everything. She, no matter what, we never had to worry about things. She always figured it out. And then the Crown Kids came after, because I learned about different cultures, and, we're a big melting pot of just human. And then during George Floyd, I'm the one of the head mentors for Tina's Angels and Warriors. Mrs. Tina knows, Beyonce's mom. I'm her mentor there, and we have 100 students that we mentor on a weekly basis. And so after George Floyd, she wanted to do a check-in, because during COVID, we had to do all the Zoom meetings. And we checked them, and we were talking to the kids, and I'm looking back, because these are all the books here. And My Little Black Book came up. So it's a book, because I was like, I don't want to go out there and march, because it was just too dangerous. We're talking to these kids, it's 80 kids in Zoom. There's only 2 of us here, but imagine like all these windows with babies just crying, Asian, Mexican, Black. We have like a lot of minority kids in our program that come from, like, not the healthiest situations, like we did. And so I ended up writing My Little Black Book, just to reincorporate how these Black inventors created so much, and without them, this world would be, pretty dark, because somebody actually created light bulbs. A Black person did. So, and then like the 5th book, I was sitting around, and my godson Jacob, I call him my mini-me. He's a Virgo. He's powerful. He's just he's my baby. And he came up with these ideas, and I was like, oh, if you were a superhero, what powers would you want? He went down a list, and so I ended up incorporating that for my 5th book, which is Fly, a story of self-love. And the Fly stands for First Love Yourself. So you think it's a book about superpowers, which it is, but the superpower comes from within, when kids know how to love themselves and, just use that power. My whole brand for the books is I Crown Me, because I don't want children to run around looking for acceptance. The first big power and the first step is, once you love yourself, nobody can rock you. Once you love every part of yourself, you can look in the mirror and really say, like, yo, I love myself. I'm cool. And I just did it today. I'm like, yo, I'm pretty cool, because I did so much stuff this week. I'm like, yeah, good job, T. Like really just being your own cheerleader. Nobody can shake you. Nobody.
Yeah, no,
with the brand.
Absolutely. I completely understand. I've been podcasting for almost a decade now. And over the years, I've had people like, oh, you should try this. And, I was like, like, I'm gonna do me, and the content I create is what I want to hear. People have their own ways of doing it, and, that probably works for them. I can't, it's like, it's not the expression, right? You can't fit like a round peg into a square hole, or the vice versa. That ain't me,
Yeah,
and
I think
so,
one of my lines for everything is nobody's different because everybody's different. You know what I mean? So it's
mm-hmm.
like do your own thing, and if everybody was normal is boring. So like do your own thing. If you need to go outside and scream and not scream at people, but like get it out and run in the field and scream and just live your life. You get one chance to do it. You don't want to do the shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
Right. No, absolutely. You shoot your shot, you know.
Shoot it and go. And fuck it. Like have fun. Your only
Yeah.
job in the world, no matter what, I don't care how many bills, just be happy. Find little things to make yourself happy.
Absolutely. Yeah. And like the whole thing you talk about, like self-loving yourself, and nobody can take that away from you. Once you
Nobody.
accept that in yourself, it's a great message. We were at the mall taking the kids to get the Santa pictures done, and I meandered around in the Barnes and Nobles. I couldn't find the book. Is it only available through the
It's the reason
iCrown?
I did that just to educate a little bit about entrepreneurship. Like I went to Barnes. At one point, it was in Barnes and Noble, and I had it on Amazon and doing whatever. But I found that like I ship the books out myself still. I sign each book because I want children to know like I see you. Because all humans just want to feel like they belong. You know what I mean? So I sign each book. If they put their name in an order, I sign a name. Um, and I find like Amazon, yes, it's cool to be number one on Amazon, but Amazon takes like 70% of your money. When it
Mm,
goes into these big box stores, they can take anywhere up to 40 to 70% of your money just because it's on their shelf. So it was on Amazon for a while, but then when I saw, like I sold almost 200 books myself, and all that profit's mine, to then make other books. And so I think that like Amazon sold like 300 some books, and the check they sent, I was like, where the rest of my money at? So I was like, okay, so I know I like to be involved anyway. I'm a Virgo. And I was like, let me just ship them from home and do my own thing. So then now we have the merch. I do everything. Every time something gets shipped off, I sign it myself. Even on Instagram, when I answer people back, they're like, is this your assistant? I'm like, no, it's me. And sometimes now some of the fans, I'll record my voice like, hi, this is me. Then they like want to do a video chat or whatever. But I don't do all that. But I'll say hello.
yeah, yeah. Oh, that's nice of you. When shout out to Elias. Like him and I, we go back to the Cobra Kai days. We were like, like the first two guys like interviewing people. And so like I saw, he put out an interview with you, then with Eugene recently. But I know that John shared your interview, and he's like, if you love Trunk, I think I forget what John said on Twitter, but it was like, you're gonna love
Love
Terrence.
Trump, you'll love Terrence something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm like, oh, this is probably what he was talking about, like, because I'm sure like Elias kind of went over some of the same things here about your books and stuff. This just like really great positivity, and
Yeah, and
um
even the brand is called I Crown Me because it's like I wanted to give kids the power to crown themselves instead of like waiting for somebody to give you a crown. No, reach up there and grab them up, put it on your head. So it's called I Crown Me, and all the books and stuff is available at icrownme.com. Yeah.
so all the self love and stuff, like you really get that message from the song Crown Town as well.
Yeah.
So I love the video. Also, I don't remember which book it was, but shout outs to Jacob and Jade. I watched that video too.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna love that. Yeah, those are my babies. Yeah, that was during quarantine, and they did that. And Jacob now he's an '80s baby where he wants to. He's all about Animaniacs. He's about '90s cartoons. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? He's gonna be a force to be reckoned with. My little baby Jade, she's multi half and she wants to be dance, sing. She wants to do it all. So yeah,
Yeah.
those are babies. Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like when you were growing up, you also had like kind of like the performance bug, right? I mean, your music. So like, where does the music kind of fall in your timeline?
The thing about it is, I think it was in my DNA because uh, I found out I was actually interning at an advertising company in college and found out then BB King was like related to me on my dad's side, and then
Oh,
another gospel singer, a huge gospel singer, was like my my grandmother's cousin or something. But music, to be honest with you, Crown Town came up because entrepreneurship. I was trying to get somebody to sing a song for the book. I'm like, oh, it needs to have a whole universe. I want a cartoon, which we have stuff coming up. And I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do that. And somebody was about to sing the song, and then I realized, like, you got to give these people 40%, 60% and pay them. And I was like, oh, maybe I can sing it. And they were like, you want to try? I was like, yeah, let me see, what's the song? And I we looked at it, and I did it, and I was like, yeah, I can sing this. And then that started one thing, because I wanted to sing. I used to be in choir when I was a kid. But that started one thing, and then now I was like, oh, I can do my own personal song. So now it's kid version, then we got the other songs, like Dance in the Mirror is the last single I just put out. So yeah, the music is just something, like, I'm a music person. Like, in the morning, like, each part of my life, I can relate. I can hear a song and remember where I was, what I was going through in that time. Music is an instrument of love, and it can really get you through stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I often say that music is also like a real life time machine. Like you said, it would transport you. I was just at a birthday party last week, and we were singing all the hits. New Edition, As Yet. I'm kind of blanking about a lot of '90s R&B, a lot of Usher. And like I was sitting there like, yep, this is 8th grade right here. Tony Rich Project.
Yeah,
Tony Rich Project. Like
we were dating, all that stuff.
All of that, So I think I'm just a few months older than you. If actually, I think I'm a little over a year older. So same era. What did you have any inspirations or influences musically growing up?
My mom used to sing around the house, like she played James Brown, all the good hits. And then when I moved in, my grandmother always listened to gospel songs. And then I hung out with a lot of gospel people. And then I was a drum major in the South. So that's like the dude in front of the band, HBCU with a hat, marching and dancing. And so band was a huge thing for me as well. And I played the trumpet, clarinet as a kid. Yeah, so all that stuff. And so music, I've always had music around me. Even when going through depression, I could like listen to, when my mother first, there was an incident where we had, and I remember I was listening, TLC Fan Mail just came out. And that first intro song, I Get Lonely Too. Yeah, that song saved me a couple of times.
Oh, no kidding. Fan Mail is one I don't, actually, I couldn't tell you the last time I listened to that one. That was the last one that Left Eye was on as well. There's no scrubs and stuff, but Crazy Sexy Cool was one of my first 2 albums that I ever owned. I got it the same day as Boyz II Men's 2.
Yeah, me too. That one crazy, and then the other one was Notorious B.I.G. That came with Mary J. Blige, 411. Because you remember BMG, where you could the little postcard.
Oh yeah,
and $1, you got like eight things you never pay for it, but they like.
Yeah, that's how they get you. You got to be careful.
The CDs, all that stuff came out. All those. Oh, that was a really good time. All that like dropped at the same time.
Yeah, it really did, because I was talking to somebody about Aquemini, and so we just started talking about like Outkast. I'm like, man, the first time I heard Andre was on Crazy Sexy Cool. He was on that song Something Come Around My Way. I think it's and that's a real good one too. That's a bop. I mean, I feel like we could just.
You see, I'm like crazy.
Yeah. I can sit here like 90s R&B is my jam. I have a playlist with just hours of it. Like some of my favorite, like I don't want to call them obscure. I just feel they were under listened to. Like somebody like Avant, which is funny because I was just talking to Montel Bush, who plays Bobby. We were talking about Avant because he's from Ohio. And so Avant's from Cleveland, but talk about like getting through some like relationships, like Getaway, Separated from that first album.
Look at you, you went through some shit.
I went through, there's probably a reason that I had 2 kids by the age of 19.
Oh yeah,
I was that guy.
Oh my also, you was really understanding the songs.
I really was. I remember Brandy and Wanye's "Broken Hearted" spoke to me in a way where I was sobbing. I was sobbing. And so, like I know this is about you, but to kind of abbreviate the story, I did this podcast where I was covering that show Unsolved, and it was about the murders of Tupac and Biggie.
I was on there.
You were on there?
On USA.
You were on that?
Yeah, I played was it Cornbread? Yeah, I believe his name was Cornbread. I was on there.
What was the scene?
I was on there a few times. I was in like 4 episodes. I was one of Suge's goons, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was on there. Yeah.
I covered that show right before Cobra Kai came out.
Yeah, and I was the director. I was on there.
I interviewed Greg Kading.
Yeah.
The real Greg Kading. I reached out because he was consultant on that show.
Yeah, I was on there.
See, if I did better research, I would have seen that and be like, yeah, that's crazy. I covered that.
No,
show.
His name was Neckbone. It was Neckbone.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so crazy because sometimes people like, you were on Bosch, and I'd be like, what's that? I forget. Because you got to release it. If not, you get crazy. All these voices. When I came, I did Obliterated. I went to Italy after and did a film there, and then I had to come back to do ADR here. And I remember they pulled Trunk and pulled me up on the screen for the scene to do the ADR. And I saw him, but then I was still in the other head. And then it was like 3 different voices. And they pushed play and everybody turned and like, you okay? And I like malfunctioned because it was, so you got to do it and just get it out of your head. Because if not, you'll be like.
That's wild. Because, for the people that are listening or watching, Nick's interview will have already come out by the time they listen to this. But I was all like, oh yeah, so there's this Santa Claus movie you did. He's like, he was like, I made you remember it. So I was like, you probably saw my post recently. Like I just
I said I'm making t-shirts.
Him in the Santa hat, yeah. I told him it was a cute movie, like he's a sexy Santa Claus at a mall. That's really what that's about. But yeah, check that out. Desperately Seeking Santa is what it's called. So look, I'm gonna have to go back and check those episodes of yours because to circle back to that, we were talking about like songs that were on that show, and then we also did a couple bonus episodes running down like our top 10 Biggie songs, top 10 Tupac songs, and my co-host is 10 years older than me, and there was a few songs where he's like, oh, this is another one of those jams that Peter had no business listening to at the age of 10. And so I just had aunties and uncles that were at the right age, and that was the only way I was able to listen to that type of music because I wasn't able to watch MTV. So, oh man, we can vibe about music all day, but no, we're here to talk about Terrence here. Okay, so let's see. To kind of, we're not going to get to Obliterated yet. There's a fun story that I had seen you tell on something, and it's so funny because it gets kind of mentioned in Obliterated. So apparently, you snuck into something, danced with Drew Barrymore to Lady Gaga's Just Dance.
Yeah.
Trunk is now maybe.
Oh wow! I forgot that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask if that was an inside joke to like, did somebody see that interview with you and Drew?
No, to be honest with you, I have no idea. I just thought you just tied that together for me. Wow. Yeah. No, because to be honest with you, because I've been blessed to meet Beyonce a few different times. And I thought they were going to do like Beyonce jokes because they know that, I'm with her mom when it comes to like the Angels and Warriors. But they didn't do that. They went to Lady Gaga and I was like, oh, okay, cool. But wow, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah.
So somebody must have seen that interview.
I didn't even think of that. Wow.
It's just so specific,
Yeah, because I'm like, he's about to leave to go be bodyguard for Lady Gaga. It was like, she's a singer, songwriter, and a philanthropist, and an A-list actress.
I loved her in the Star Is Born.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
I love that movie. Yeah, so I wonder if that was the thing I kind of wanted to bring up because again, I was finding like a few gems here and there
Wow, that's really cool of
about
you. I
you.
didn't think of that. Wow.
Yeah, Kimmy mentioned that, when I spoke with her, she was like, you kind of like you find like connections and often because like, you working with John Josh and Hayden, right? Like you may have learned that with these guys, nothing is by accident,
Yeah,
right? Like,
everything and that's why even with the show, when I first read it, I'm like, what is this? But then when you go through the show, you have to. I remember a few people like, oh, well, I'm watching it, but I want to eat food first. Compared to like when I eat, you want to eat and watch a good show. Everybody watches like, no, I don't want to eat because I'll miss something. Everything is written for a reason. Like if you see a red cap on somebody, it's on there for a reason. So people are like, I need to pay attention because they didn't want to miss anything.
yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of how we do our episode breakdowns. And I even told Watch Party, I was all like, I think these episode reviews are gonna have to wait because like everybody's saying yes, basically, and so just get it out now while they all have the time. And he's like, yep, they can wait till the new year. So um yeah, so our episode breakdowns, we write down like things that are said in dialogue because it can be specific. And a lot of times it's also set up. Like, hey, like they mentioned that in the first episode.
Right.
So I think now is probably a good time to kind of transition into Obliterated. So and if there's any other behind the scenes stories you want to drop in between, uh first off, I'd like to know, how did you find out about this project and kind of your auditioning process, like some of the scenes you read for?
Well, I found out through my manager, sent it over, and then I couldn't pronounce it. I was like, oh, bleh. Even when I booked it, I was like, I booked a bleh, right? And I could not say it at all. And it was like, T, I think you need to learn how to say this before you go on set and you don't know what the name of your show is. But got the audition, and it was, of course, always with the kids. Jacob and Jay, we were about to go to the movies, and it was just crazy. And I remember getting the thing like Trunk. Is it like his name is Trunk? Like, why is his name Trunk? Then I'm like, okay, I'll figure it out. But then I'm like, oh, he's big. Oh, he's a trunk, like a truck. Then I was like, okay, he's Trunk. So I got the script, and it was the party scene where me and McKnight was about to fight, and then I was about to fight Ava. So then it was the other scene was with the Gaga thing, but it wasn't about Gaga. It was about me and McKnight breaking up. And then the food where I'm waiting for the dot to move and a girl eating my food. So those were the three scenes. And I remember I did the other scenes and I felt something with the McKnight scene. And then the food scene, I remember I did it. And then usually, like I said, I'll do a show and I'll leave it. I don't think about it. But for some reason, we went to the movies. The kids were like, okay, we gotta go. So it was like, rush, do the audition, we gotta go. So went to the movies, came back, and I was driving back, and I was like, that, oh, I thought about the joke about the line about the food. Like, who is this? I'm like, oh, he's been waiting for that food. Because they didn't say that he was starving. I was like, oh, he's been waiting for this food. And I was like, oh, I think that I found that and I did that right. And so then they told me maybe a couple of days later, I had a call back, and I never remember the auditions. So I'm like, call back for what? And they said for Trunk. I'm like, Trunk what? And then they was like, oh, well, I'm like, what did I have on? They were like, oh, the tank top. I was like, oh, that one. Cool, cool, cool. The one I can't pronounce. So they gave us like 7 days. It's like 5 days, a whole week, I guess, to be ready. Same lines or whatever. And I was meeting John, Josh, and Hayden for the first time. And so you had them in the screen, and I did it. And they gave me a couple of ways. And, the guys are really in their own lanes. When you get to know them, it's really 3 of them on one brain, and they're literally the same person. But there's different variations of them. Like Josh is the cool one. Like he's the crazy, like he'll like, let's jump off the cliff together and see where we land. John is like, okay, if we jump off the cliff, we still need to make sure we have like safety stuff on. We need to do this. And Hayden's just sit back like, yeah, I can do that. He's a cool one. So I have these dudes in the scene. I never look people up because I always want to just be authentic and be myself compared to trying to impress. So they're sitting there. Hayden's doing his little side thing, and I did it. And then after that, I got a call, and they were like, maybe like an hour later, it's like, oh, you're the choice. And at that point, I was the first one casted. And I thought it was a joke because weeks went by. They were like, we're still looking for the McKnight and the McKnight character because it needs to make sense with your character. Like that's going to be your best friend. And I'm like, okay, well, when did we start? When did we start? So they finally found McKnight, and I saw Nick and Shelly's announcement. I'm like, okay. So then when I met Nick, we instantly people think me and Nick grew up together because I can literally look at Nick now and be like I can read everything in his head, and it's horrible because he's so funny, and I'll just bust out laughing. So it's horrible, but yeah, people think me and Nick grew up together, and his kids are like little guy kids too.
I would have thought that too if Lenny took you to Special Friends Day.
Oh, he told you about that?
Well, I know that it was a thing. I don't know the details. If you would,
yeah.
Like
Nick is cool. So Nick knows a lot of people. Like I met Channing Tatum through him. Like he knows a lot of people. And Lenny is like this little cute, this beautiful but very strong little girl, and she knows what she wants. And so he's like, hey, and why is so cool. And so he called me, he was like, hey, it's Special Friends Day and the kids want you to come. And I'm like, Special Friends Day? So we go there, he's like, gee, it's the funniest thing because everybody's bringing like their grandma, their little uncle. And he's like, and Lenny walks in, not even up to your knee with this big black guy like, this is my special friend. So everybody's like, oh my God. So yeah, like it was so cool. We had a lot of fun that day. Yeah, those are my babies too.
Yeah. So she brought in a giant, you know.
Brought a giant,
yeah.
She's so direct being that young, but like she's T, come, T, here, hey, and people are watching this. It was like, yeah, she's so beautiful. Yeah.
I didn't know you were still talking about like the Special Friends Day. I thought like maybe you guys were painting somewhere else. But
no, but that's anywhere. Even in the house, she'll be like, sit, T, come here.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. You guys have that relationship. Is there a ship name for Trunk and McKnight? Like I was telling Nick, I was like, oh, McTrunk. Just to kind of like shorten it. Is there anything you guys are?
No, I haven't thought of anything yet. I just thought my Nick, or Nick. Yeah, I haven't came up with anything like McKnight Trunk. I like that. What did you just say?
McTrunk.
I like that.
Yeah, McTrunk, because when I was speaking with Shelly, she was talking about Ava and Maya, and she said Mava. And so I don't
like McTrunk.
Yeah, I don't know if Mava was around yet, so I don't know if she like came up with that on the spot. And like, well, I need to go in there and start coming up with some of these pairings, some of our favorite scenes with these people.
Yeah, McTrunk, I like that.
McTrunk, you like McTrunk? Okay, well, we'll get started
thinking. With McTrunk, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a McTrunk. Yeah, because I was telling Nick, I was like, I want to see the days of McTrunk plus Gomez. I want to see their time in service, leading up to that episode 2, that flashback. So so you booked the role. Tell me about like kind of meeting some of the other cast members, and apparently there was a day 2 with Kevin Kent, who's military technical advisor, and you guys haven't really gotten to know each other just yet, and apparently that's when you guys found out that Eugene is literally Paul himself.
Oh my God. When I tell you, I forgot his name was Eugene. I usually just called him Paul 24. Eugene is literally, when I tell you, if they wrote this man, his size outweigh his blood. Eugene is so much like, oh my God. There was one time all of us are on, we're rehearsing. Kevin's like a force to be read. He's a beast. He's like, Kevin's been through some real shit. So he's like
nonsense.
Holding the gun. Yeah, so we're, and Eugene is, hey, guys, I brought snacks, or hey, you guys need water? Like he does one time, we're all in our mode, like, and he's like, he pulls his gun up, what? And then everybody's ready, and then Eugene's bullet, his jacket just falls out of his gun. He's like, oh, so sorry. Back. I'm like, oh my God. Eugene is literally Paul. It's crazy. But a lot of people, and like, we didn't see everybody's scene, so some things I saw when the show actually came out, like I didn't see as much as Alice and stuff, and Allison is like my best friend now. But Eugene, a lot of people forget that Eugene, we got to work with each other. Eugene usually worked with just a puppet, a stick, or he was looking at like a green screen. He was doing all that stuff by himself. So Eugene is a beast.
Yeah, that's funny. He didn't share. I
He's
guess
so
you know.
he's so humble, and I'm like, bro,
Right,
like you gotta tell people like what you do. The way that he embodied that character, even like he performed by himself in a helicopter with nobody.
right,
Somebody
right,
just reading the lines. Like if me and you are going back and forth, and I'm reading aggressively, and we're in the scene, we're going back and forth. I'm feeding off you, I'm feeding off me. But if you have a AD or somebody regular just sitting on the side reading the lines just to read the lines and not putting any passion in it, and you gotta cry, you gotta pull, you gotta scream. That's what Eugene was doing by himself.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
he's, he's amazing.
You know, like in hindsight, like I think my conversation with Eugene was a little obliterated light. You know, like a lot of it was, you know, his career and the struggles that he went through, you know,
Yeah,
as a minority actor as well. You
yeah.
know, and he shared like he was about to call it quits until he got the role. You know, or like you know that the audition came up. So
Because
um,
this business can really mess you up. And Eugene is such a pure soul. Like I've been through some craziness, so I have like thank God I'm big as I am because I say God made me big because He knew what I was going to go through. So Eugene is such a pure soul. Like he really, really, really cares about the man more than himself. And that's probably why he didn't even tell you about what he did. Cause he just, you'll tell him how great he is. He's like, yeah, but I had a great cast with me. I'm like, bro, you are amazing. Like, shut up and take the compliment.
yeah,
But
take some dubs for yourself.
amazing man. He's a really, really great guy.
Yeah, you got to tell him about some of that self love. Not just it's not just everybody. Like
Oh, trust me, he'll tell you. I'm like, get over here. You gotta like stop. And I make him. I'm like, if somebody give you a compliment, take it. Because it took me a while to do that. I'm like, take it. You ain't got to say nothing back, but thank you. You don't try to overcompensate. Like, realize how powerful you are, how amazing you are, and stay in that. But he's so giving, he wants to give it right back. I'm like, don't do that. So,
yeah, yeah.
so it looks like I'm just trying to help him.
Yeah, yeah. I should take some of that advice too. People often are like, yeah, but you've got these interviews, you know, from like hard work. I'm like, yeah, I guess. You know,
No,
like
it's no guessing. You've worked your ass off for it. So it's like, confidence, stand in it. If it wasn't for you doing this, like who else would be doing this right now? So you got to
right.
take your power. Like that's powerful.
Yeah, yeah, appreciate that.
Of course.
Um, so Trunk, what were some early stuff that you guys had to kind of work out in terms of characters? Because you know, like you kind of get like a well, basically, I want to know like if your character evolved much from when you first got handed scripts and things like that. For example, like this is not a great example, but like Frank Helmer, costume designer, for those that don't know,
Yeah.
he shared with me originally. He had envisioned Trunk in red, not yellow, and I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah, I love, and red is my favorite color.
Me too.
Yeah, so I was like, oh, red would have been, but he said Gomez had red on. But I
Right.
think even with red, the yellow is so much more complicated, if that makes sense. Red
Hmm.
would have been like, oh, he's in red, and, power, da, da, but the yellow gave it a more softness, like you can go anywhere with yellow. Like it's that color where you can be crazy, you can be soft, you can be funny, or you can be angry. But red is just would have been just like power, power, power. So I'm glad he picked yellow. And to be honest with you, when I got the role, they were like, "Oh, we want to make sure you look like you can get somebody out of a helicopter." So I started working out. I was already working out. My brain, and I just says the universe. I always go into this mode. I never know what's coming up, but I always go like I start preparing without knowing that I'm preparing. So before Trunk came up, I started doing 2 days at the gym, like working out in the morning and going in the evening and working out heavier or something like that. So by the time I booked it, they was like, "Oh, you are how big are you going to be?" Next thing you know, I've already put like 15 pounds on. And right now, I lost it, but it's still, it's big. I'm big. Uh, but I was already training for him without even knowing that I had it.
Yeah, yeah. 15 pounds. Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
15 pounds. I was 260 pounds in that.
Yeah.
Almost 20 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Still great shape. Look at that.
Yeah.
Um, now, as I understand it, when you guys were like auditioning, you guys already had the understanding that like you are probably going to show something, right? Like, was there any moment where you're like, oof, like, did you, what were you a little, I don't know if you were nervous, so I don't want to put words in your mouth. Were you nervous about anything, like a scene in the show, like in the
I
scenes?
was nervous about because the torture scene. I didn't know. I didn't really know about the torture scene until later. When I
Hmm.
got there, they were like, "Oh, we got the torture scene," and I was like, "You what?" So they came up with that, but no, I wasn't really nervous because I feel like at the end of the day, when you do scenes like that, it only makes it worse if you don't, you realize like, okay, this is somebody else's story. I'm lending myself to it. Cool, let me just do it. But I don't think I was really nervous. The only thing that was, oh, if anything, nervous wise about the scene, my team was nervous because I did a scene like that. Something not like that, but where they like exploited everything on the internet. Like somebody got a hold of it and they went all over the internet with it. Um, and this was with the children's book. I just want to be very careful. But now, like with my babies, Jacob and stuff, I'm letting them be more of the face of the books now. But that's the only thing that was coming up for me. I was like, oh, I want to make sure it's okay when it comes to the book, but at the same time, I have to separate myself. Like, I love the books, I love what it does for children, but at the same time, this is my dream. And I have to push forward. And the reason I get to do my dream is because I'm pushing and giving back to the babies, that are coming up. So that's the only time I think I got nervous. I was like, oh, what if the kids see it? And which is crazy because Miss Tina, we did a Renaissance premiere with the kids from the show a couple of weeks ago. And I told the kids, like, they know I act, and there are certain things that they can watch and what they can't. They're in high school. So I get in there, and they're clapping and say, oh, we saw your show, Mr. Terrence. And I'm like, you guys were not supposed to watch that show. They're like, we watched it with our parents. I'm like, oh, my God.
That's even worse.
But yeah, they get it. It's art, so they get it now. Yeah.
Right. Well, since we're kind of talking about that scene,
Oh,
you okay to kind of go in depth about how the cookie was made and pulling back the scene? Now, did you have to work with Christine McHugh very much at all? The
the
intimacy
intimacy
coordinator.
story, yes.
So
But
can you
not
talk
as much
about?
as everybody else, but she was very like intimacy coordinator, just make sure that you're comfortable and nudity stuff. She was very hands on, not like that, but she was very like there. She was like a mom on set, making sure everybody was comfortable, make sure, there were certain screens off where nobody could say it was a closed set, making sure I was okay. But the prosthetic, everybody like, is it real? A lot of my exes have been like, you old school. That. But they're like, oh, so you just doing whatever you want to do. And I'm like, uh, but no, it was cool. Like I wasn't. I was okay. Like it didn't freak me out because I really didn't. Like Nick was freaked out, but it didn't freak me out as much because I couldn't really see much. I was just in it because we were hanging there. My arms were hurting because at that point they were like 20 pounds apiece. So that was heavy, but no, they told me what I need to do. The other thing was jumping up with my pants around my ankles and then because at first they wanted to like slap the dude. My team, I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. My team was like, you are not doing that. I was like, why not? But no, I wasn't like Christine was very, very hands on. So she made everybody feel cool. So it felt like we were just wearing bathing suits.
Yeah, and so I'm assuming the prosthetic that you wore is probably similar to Johan, who plays Jeremy the stripper,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so basically, it's something that you wear in front, almost like an underwear, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's
It's it's
interesting.
like a tube.
Okay. Then now I'm wondering, because apparently there's this Haggerty prosthetic that we're never gonna see because Tommy decided that he was just gonna go all in himself.
And so imagine most of the time we knew that scene was happening, but we didn't know that scene was happening. So we came
Yeah.
the first time to all those reactions, like what the fuck? Like it was like, oh my God. And then in scenes you don't do it one time. You gotta do it over and over and over and over. So he committed, he did it. But I was like, no, cover me up.
Yeah, I didn't even like get a chance to ask Nick about that. But like, what was? I mean, because it's a prosthetic, right? So it's not a real organ. But like, I'm just wondering, like the handling of it. Did you guys treat it like it was a real?
Yes,
Okay, okay.
it's the skin. It feels real. Like you gotta treat it a certain way. And then, to be honest with you, Christine was cool, but thank God we have the amazing women on this show that we had, because the girls were so. I always say the girls were like boys. Like they were like, if we didn't have like Shelly, Shelly, Paola, Kimmy, if we and Allison, if we didn't have those girls, it like those processes could have been a little bit longer. Like these girls, they were game, and so then I could have been like, no, cover me up, because they were like, let's get it. So it's like, I was like, okay, God, here we go. But no, you have to handle it with care, because it feels it's like real skin, and then it's heavy, and it was a lot of like treatments, and then like it was like the trophy, because then it was made, so I had to go in and get the prosthetic thing shaped to me, and then when it came in, it was like the holy grail, and like they're watching, like we're about to put it on. So it took 45 minutes to put it on, and then like they come out, and I think Allison got a picture of me walking crazy because it was between my legs.
It was like an elephant walking by.
It was Trunk. So and then when the guy pulled it down and like it almost flapped and hit him in his face, it was a lot of stuff. So it was a character of his own.
Yeah, I bet it was. And you didn't get to keep that, huh?
No, I don't. I wouldn't keep that, because like, what do you do? Like, oh, this is Trump, kids.
That's true.
Even my
Like,
they can't watch Jacob. It says Jade says it too. She's all like, why can't you do something kid friendly? And then Jacob was excited about it. He loves the poster. He loves the haircut, because the haircut is based off what his little haircut. He has the coolest hair, and he says, I love Obliterated. I can't watch it because it has a lot of inappropriate body parts. So I'm like, okay. So yeah.
I guess, I mean, the way you describe it, basically it's just a dildo, I guess you're calling it prosthetic.
Yeah, it's a hollow dildo.
Oh, hollow. Okay,
Hollow dildo.
So the material itself is thick. So this is why you guys listen to Obliterated Companion, for the details, because like,
and then you gotta put yourself in it.
Well, because like you've been making appearances on like television, and news and stuff, but you can't talk about the details there.
Oh, like I'm sure they probably wanted to talk about it yesterday morning when I went to KTLA, but like,
yeah. Oh yeah, that's why you're tuning in here. We're here to get it from you.
We were raw over here, but yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh boy. Let's talk about some of the other Trunk scenes. Like before the show came out, I reached out to you and I told you that one of my favorite like funny moments of Trunks is that empty donut box.
Oh gosh.
So if you tell me what you kind of remember, like filming that day, was it difficult at all?
My voice, and mostly all this, I felt like I was hollering all the time because he was so hungry, and I remember the donut box thing, and it was just like goatee, and so I kind of came up with. I just went for it and did whatever I thought. And Nick always does this thing. He's like, "Congratulations, you did it again." And I'm like, "What?" But it was a lot of screaming, so I was hoarse a lot of time because I would have to scream so much. But it was and getting dizzy a lot because I was screaming the whole time and jumping on the box, and at some points I wouldn't eat, so it just helped fuel the anger on set. So it was a lot of jumping up and down, hitting things like an angry child. Yeah, but it was fun. I was getting paid for it.
Absolutely. Now I can't get this out of my mind because you mentioned Mr. T earlier. And like for the audio listeners, Terrence is wearing chains as well. And so and like like not too dissimilar in like the beard and like you don't have Trunk's hair right now, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. But did the character of Trunk? Did you have like any inspirations or any influences on how you portrayed him?
The really cool thing about John, Josh, and Hayden, this was the first show I walked in, and we had to do the whole hair consulting thing. So when I walked in, they were like, let your hair grow out a little bit. So I had I let it grow out a little bit. So my hair grows really fast. So they were talking about parts. I'm like, well, if we're going to do a part, that means somebody needs to be on set every day because my hair literally grows like fast. Like I can have a part today and then tomorrow it'll be like blurred in because whatever. But when I went into the dressing room, the hair place to do whatever, all the inspiration, usually they have like the pictures and like this
Mm.
person, all the pictures that they had up there was of me. And I was like, that, so that already made me feel like a power, right? Because I wasn't basing this off of anybody else I knew, but it was off of me, my hair, my look. And I'm like, okay, cool, this is gonna be good. But then when I got into it, I started thinking of like Will Smith when he played
Marcus or no, Mike Lowry.
yeah, Mike Larry. So Mike Larry came in my head a lot because Will's one of my favorite actors. Will Smith, Mike Larry, Training Day, and then Denzel in Training Day, and then also Will when he did, what's the name of the show, the movie when he was a superhero, like a hood superhero?
Hancock.
Hancock popped up a lot. And then, to be honest, when he starts screaming and hollering Trunk, when he does, most of that stuff came from my mom.
Mm.
Like inspiration when she used to get mad, like her voice would deepen, like it was crazy. So yeah, and then most of the other stuff came naturally just because I know what that is. Everybody would tell you like I'm nice as hell until unless I'm hungry or tired, and then that's when I become a monster. So yeah.
Can you do any impersonations
Of what? Of me?
of somebody? Like you mentioned like Denzel and Will Smith. I wonder if you got anything in your pocket.
I can't do the Denzel voice. Wait, I can't. I don't know how people do that though.
Well, with Denzel, I feel it's more of like
the
inflections, like the like if you ever watch Saturday Night Live, like Jay Farrell.
He does it good. Like yeah, bro. I can't do it though. Eddie Murphy, I can. Like Eddie,
Little, huh?
Do it, man. Yeah, he does that with the fingers. Yeah. What do you say? Y'all motherfuckers, y'all want to look at space like that, and then but no, Eddie Murphy was one of my favorites. Eddie, like the screaming and laughing, that's all Eddie. Yeah.
Oh, Coming to America is my favorite comedy of all
Oh
time.
my God, Coming to America, you can watch it right now. And you know what? Obliterated reminds me of Coming to America because Coming to America, even to this day, you can watch it and you just discover something new. Even if it's like somebody in the background kicking something over, it's like Where's Waldo of movies. So Coming to America, and so Obliterated, even me going back and watching it over and over, because I watched it like 8-10 times before it came out. And I'm like, oh, wow, that was really clever. The part where you're thinking Ava's about to hit Anastasia in the face with the bottle, but she really hits the window. So now, because the windows at the Rio is all mirror, so you don't know which room they are because Gomez are looking for it to shoot through. And so when she busts that window, I would grab my head like, this is great writing.
Yeah.
Who thinks of that? I'm like, yeah. So it was
these guys.
I'm like, God, it was great writing.
Look, when the first season of Cobra Kai, I don't know how many episodes I was in, but I literally said, I was talking about the writing. I go, the writing is so good. This is Breaking Bad level. Like, like when Breaking Bad was out, I was listening to these podcasts doing what I do now. Like they were big influences on me, breaking down the writing and the directing. And so I like to get into that. And again, nothing is by accident with these guys. Like everything is deliberate.
Everything
and so
yeah,
it's so good. As a fan of the show, what are some of your favorite moments that doesn't involve Trunk?
Oh, the Lana and Anastasia and Ava fight. I loved the Kimmy when she was in Maya when she was trying to break up Ava and I forgot the other character's name in the club.
Oh, Sharonda.
Sharonda, when they were fighting, she was like, "That's my friend." I loved that one. I loved Gomez when she did her vulnerability moment on that rooftop with Bobby. And then I love
Billy.
And I love the guy who played, is it Bobby? The one everything's
Montel Bush?
Is that the crazy the
He's
one
the other big motherfucker?
Oh no, not him.
Oh.
The one who played Eugene, Paul's daughter's boyfriend.
Oh, Zach Blast.
You know more than me. Yeah, he was crazy. All his stuff was amazing. And then Eugene when he went crazy in the helicopter with the cake. Or no, and then when he just started, he was like, "Yeah, I'm not unhinged. I'm gonna kill all these motherfuckers." So when he got a little hood, and I want to say my daughter, like, and I love that. I mean, Tommy, even though he was knocked out, when he was like, "Get him, man," when he did the first bomb and he did his little tongue thing like that, I was like, "Oh my god!" So yeah,
what were you guys saying? Because we were hearing the music as the audience, and I'm
we
sure
were
some people.
screaming like, "Focus on the fucking bomb. We're about to die. What the fuck are you doing?" I'm pointing at McKnight's character like, "This is your fault. This your boy. This is your man. This your guy. This is your fuck up." So and then trying to calm Ava down like, "Stop. Like, we in here. We got to. What else? What else can we do? We don't have a choice." So we were just screaming at each other.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious. So what is something because you mentioned that there was a lot of scenes you didn't know about because you weren't there for the filming of it. So try to think back to like the very first time you watched the show, and finished it. What was something that you didn't know happened until you saw it, and you needed to text or call that actor and be like, "Oh, you said this or you did this. That's hilarious,"
Oh,
something like
that's
that.
a good question.
That got a big reaction out of you.
There
It
was so
sounds. Well, was it Eugene? I mean, it sounds like he's. I mean, since he did so much by himself.
yeah, I text Eugene was one of the first ones I called because I'm like, I didn't know, like I knew he was on the set by himself, but I'm like the way he carried in this show is amazing. Even Paola, like most of the stuff, her narrating most of the story too with Ava was amazing. How Allison Lana's character, how she literally, I had to call her. I'm like, American people are going to hate you because you made fun of, like, you're literally making fun of like the modern day TikTok girl, and then you go into like making fun of it, then you become this bad bitch at the end. And I'm like, you were so great. And she doesn't know Russian. Everybody thinks Allison's Russian, but she literally learned all that, and she's just great. And then Shelly, like the way that she was just on fighting and like Shelly had a big task to do, and she was kicking ass. And then Nick is just the coolest because he was in ninja mode the whole time. Like Nick was very strict on food, everything else. I could eat everything, but Nick used to also tell people I had low blood pressure, and so he would have people. So every time I came back to set, there was like a Twix or something in my chair. I'm like, what is this for? Because I was trying to do no sugar. I'm like, why is people bringing me Twix? Because always Twix in my chair. I'm like, there's always for your low blood sugar. I'm like, what are you talking about? There's like, oh, well, we got word that you got low blood sugar. And I said, I'm going to kill. Now it's Nick. So even after we got finished with Obliterated, I went to Italy to film that movie. For somehow, Nick, I was going to set and there was Twix in my chair. So Nick got word all the way to Italy, Malta, that my blood sugar was low, and somebody got in trouble on production because people were eating the Twix. They're like, this is Terrence's medicine. He needs the Twix. And I was like, stop. I was going to kill you. But no, Nick was just cool. Even with his elevator fight, I didn't see that until I saw it. I was like, wow, everybody was just so amazing. I keep looking down because I have this picture of us, our costumes when we first did it.
I love that,
I have it right here on my computer. And this is before we did any shooting. And so it's here because it just reminds me of these people who transformed into these amazing characters. And all of them, it makes me emotional a little bit because we've worked our asses off on that show. And we weren't on set for 8 or 9 hours. Sometimes we would go in at 5 o'clock in the morning. We didn't get off until 3 or 4 a.m. So you go in when it's dark. You're in the studio, it's all dark. Then when you come outside, it's dark. And then I had a place where they had these floor-to-ceiling windows with no curtains. So I would have to literally put my head on the pillow and then get up and go work out. So all of us did some huge sacrifices for this show. So for it to get the reviews and love and, even you interviewing us, it means a lot, and it's a fun show, but all of us worked our asses off.
I think we can tell. I mean, it's nothing like we've seen before, like you hear the comparisons and stuff like that, all these elements. But I'm just like, I keep asking people, Nick included, and he couldn't think of something. But I was like, there's got to be so much left on the cutting room floor. So much was going on.
And they literally said, we got on when we were shooting episode 2, I'm looking at them like, how can we elevate? Where are we going? Like there's gonna be nothing left. And Joshua Hay was like, oh, this is nothing. Wait to season 2. And I was like, what? What? There's pee in a Pringles can. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah,
Paul's gonna be naked the whole season, is what I
oh,
hear.
amazing. It was really, 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 really good.
Yeah. As we get ready to wrap up, a couple more questions for you. So to get in like the headspace of Trunk real quick, I'm assuming McKnight's the type of guy that he's invited to the cookout.
Yes.
Now, this one's a little bit deeper, and I can't wait to kind of get to that part in our episode reviews. So like the whole idea of Trunk, like he wants to tell McKnight this thing, and then like later on, I'm thinking about the scene specifically where McKnight's talking to Gomez,
Right.
and he's like, "Hey, how come he's never told me?" And then they had that discussion. Now, in my opinion, and I've been around with all types of people, 10 years in the army myself, and so I was all like, I thought it was interesting that Trunk felt like he couldn't go to McKnight because like in the army we call them battle buddies, right? Like that's your battle buddy. How could you not? And because I didn't think, and I'm not a gay man, and so I can't speak for that community, but like I didn't think McKnight was came off homophobic or said anything that would make Trunk not be able to tell him, kind of thing. Do you have any opinions on that at all? Like,
No,
why do you think?
when I first looked at it, I'm like, you would think that was the big thing that he wanted to tell him, but that wasn't anything because everybody else knew. McKnight was just in the dark. McKnight just loves women so much. So for me, Trunk wasn't. He wasn't wearing. That wasn't the thing. He really didn't care. Trunk is very confident in who he is. So he's like, it's not what he is. It's just a part of him. So with all of that, and then at the end, you really find out that it wasn't about his sexuality. It was more about him telling him that he needs to leave. He wants to leave and go do something else that he was scared of. You know what I mean? Like he never hid that. And so even with that, I was like, this show is so cool because it has sex, it had this crazy stuff, but it also has all these amazing people from different walks of life. And no matter what color you are, no matter who you sleeping with, what you do in the bedroom, you can, if you stay focused, you can save the world with your dreams. You know what I mean? Like I
Mm-hmm.
think there was a picture of during George Floyd. There was this picture where this white man, is in KKK attire. He's laying on a hospital bed. And this is a real picture, and you had a black doctor saving his life, so like having surgery on him. And it was like at the end of the day, he wasn't saying like don't let this black man touch me. At the end of the day, he was saving his life. So at the end of the day, it's not about who you are, what you do. It's about your passion, your work, and what you can do for your fellow man. So I just loved how they even did that. It wasn't about just he wasn't ashamed of sexuality. He just didn't talk about it because he felt like in the sauna scene he says McKnight is just forget the lines. McKnight
Oh
is
yeah.
he sees the world one way. And so he didn't want, oh, that's another thing. Maybe he didn't want to even tell McKnight even about that because he knew McKnight probably could have wrapped his head around it or he wouldn't know the right thing to say, which an example on everything McKnight said, he started to, change who he was to try to make Trump comfortable. And I think that's what Trump didn't want to happen.
Right. Yeah. I just because my favorite one of my favorite parts of that very example is after saving the penis, the penis torture scene. I'm forgetting the exact wording of it, but he's like, hey, I mean, you didn't mind that I slapped your ass in the shower, right? And so like that's a whole ass other thing too. Like not only like that just came out, like
Yeah. Or do we like don't be butthurt? And the world's about to end. Oh, I can't say butthurt anymore. Like, oh.
yeah. And then we'll end it with this. Any moments that you could think of that so I'm trying to get to the part where because I want to hear your version and yours is going to be the third version. So the diner scene, right, where Trunk orders this list and grease in a cup, that too, and then apparently Eugene decided to do his own thing and take you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, just stuff like that.
But what Eugene did naturally, I was like, it made you, if you were hungry, Eugene would be a person that you end up choking out at the table. Because Eugene was like, I'll take, no, not that. And we was like, we didn't know he was going to do that. And we're sitting there trying to hold our laugh. He was like, a muffin. And yeah, he did his whole thing. Eugene's a genius, but that was good. But to be honest with you, all that food listing, because I don't cook. So I don't know seasonings. All I know is what tastes good. So even with the dry rub, I thought a dry rub was an actual way that you prepared the thing. I didn't know it was a seasoning. So I kept saying dry rub. So then they had to give me, that's the only time they gave me a line reading. They're like, it's a seasoning. It's a flavor. I was like, oh! So, but when I had to list all that food, it was crazy. And to the point where I was messing up. And one of the background girls was like, it's easy. And I was like, oh, well, you do it. And she did it. I was like, okay, cool, I'll try it.
That's amazing. I love that.
That to one of the actors you can get in trouble. I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, yeah, help me. Shit.
Yeah, that's amazing. Terrence, thank you for being so generous with your time and accommodating. I know you guys are all busy saving the world.
Saving the world, Christmas, people running around. I got god babies to buy stuff for us. Yeah, and these kids are demanding. They actually, when they presented their Christmas list, it was a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh no. Yeah. Now, I will include the link in the show notes, but if you can give, the people tuning in where they can find your books.
iCrownMe.com. So iCrown, past tense, CROWNED.com. And then you can find me anywhere on Google. I am Terrence T on all platforms, social media platforms. And if you hit me, DM me, I'll answer you back. But then it gets cool where it'll be like, oh, you did so great. But then some be like, I can't wait. I want you to obliterate me with your trunk. And it's like, okay, then I got to stop. So just keep it nice in the DMs. I'll answer back.
Can you give us the wildest DM that you've gotten? Or like,
I don't know. I can.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
I would say it included 2 dildos, and it was a lady, and I don't know how she did this. She did this. She had, oh my God.
It was a picture. It was a
video.
Oh!
And the scene was playing in the back of her while she had 2 things doing a whole different thing. And I was like, oh my God. But then how you're looking at something like, oh wow, because I didn't expect that. Because it was like a nice little, hey, how you doing? Oh my God, I love your work. To like a video, so you're thinking they're about to record because I open the videos because you think they're recording the screen. But she had the screen behind her doing her thing in front. And I was like, at first I was like, oh my God. Then I turned my head like, this is talent. Like, how did she queued it up? Like, that's a lot of work.
But she practiced. Oh
my God. But yeah. That was close to one. That's the wildest at this point.
That is wild. That's probably the wildest story I've ever heard.
That was crazy. Yeah. So now, I can't even open my phone around people because people are like, oh, he's watching porn. But no, these are people sending me things. And everybody, let me see your trunk. Can you obliterate me? And I'm like, oh my God.